Hello and welcome to this new chapter of my channel, a softer, slower, more intentional space. For a while now, I've felt God nudging me to pull back the curtain a little more, to show not just the message that I teach, but the life I'm living while I walk this out. Because so often we see the highlight reels, the polished words, the styled images, the confident moments. But what we don't see are the tears behind the obedience, the waiting behind the words, the quiet faith that holds everything together when nothing seems to be working. And that's where I've been lately. So today's video is more personal, not strategic. It's just the truth of what I've been walking through and what I believe God is teaching me in this season of quiet struggle and surrender. It's been about 6 years now since I've started this journey, this business, this mission to help women rediscover who they are in God and showing up with confidence again. 6 years of learning, creating, building, pouring my heart out. And honestly, there are days when I sit down and I just think, God, why does it feel like I am unseen? And I know the message He's given me in this business is powerful. I know that it's needed. And yet sometimes it feels like I'm talking into the wind. You post, you share, you pour out, and it's quiet. Crickets. You show up faithfully, and yet it's still quiet. You pray, you believe, you keep going, and still it's quiet. And in that silence, your mind starts to wander. You start to question everything. You wonder if maybe you missed something, or if maybe you're the one holding it back. And the hardest part is when you know you're being obedient, and yet there's still no visible fruit. And that's where I've been. This tension between faithfulness and frustration, between obedience and exhaustion. And then there's this verse that keeps sticking in my mind. Psalms 27:13 through 14. I remain confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. I love that word, wait, because it's not passive. It's not lazy. It's not sit back, do nothing. You are actively being obedient and waiting for the fruit to come, for the fruit to show up. It's the kind of waiting that makes you lean forward in anticipation. It's the kind of waiting that says, God, I trust you even when I don't understand you. I've been in that kind of waiting. The waiting for direction, for clarity, for breakthrough, waiting to see fruit in my business, waiting to know if I'm meant to keep pouring into this, or if God is calling me to something new, or to just focus on my family, my kids, my husband. And if you've ever been in that place where everything feels uncertain, but your faith refuses to die, then you know how heavy that kind of waiting can be. But lately the Lord has been showing me something that I needed to hear, that sometimes He will let your results go quiet so He can recalibrate your roots. And maybe He's not punishing you. Maybe He's preparing you, because it's in the stillness that He reveals what we're really building. For me, this season had showed me how much I've measured my worth by what I can produce, by numbers, by outcomes, by engagement. And quietly, God has been whispering, Stephanie, I never asked you to perform. I asked you to trust me. He's teaching me that obedience is enough, that showing up is enough, that sometimes success looks like faithfulness in the unseen. There have been moments when I've wanted to quit, not because I've lost faith, but because I'm tired of believing for something that hasn't bloomed yet. But every time I come close to letting go, God reminds me, you are not building for applause, you are building for eternity. And that truth always stops me in my tracks. Because yes, we want to see the results, we want to see the fruits, but God's fruit doesn't always grow in public view. Sometimes it grows in the soil of surrender. Sometimes it grows underground, hidden, humble, holy, until the right season comes. And maybe you're there right now too. Maybe you've been building something that hasn't taken off yet. Maybe you've been showing up to a calling that still feels small. Maybe you've prayed, fasted, given, served, and you're still standing in silence. Can I tell you something that I've had to learn the hard way? Unseen does not mean unimportant. Delayed does not mean denied. Small does not mean insignificant. God doesn't measure your worth by your reach, measures it by your rootedness, by your willingness to keep standing in faith even when the field looks empty. Sometimes He hides us on purpose. Sometimes He holds us close while everyone else runs ahead. Not because we are forgotten, but because He's forming something deeper. He's strengthening your character before He expands your calling. He is shaping your spirit before He releases your platform. Because fruit that grows too fast often can't survive the wind, but fruit that grows through pressure develops roots that cannot be shaken. And I think that's what He's doing in me. He's teaching me to stop performing, start abiding, to stop trying to push my way forward, and instead partner with Him and His perfect timing. You see, even Jesus spent 30 years in obscurity before 3 years of ministry. 30 years of preparation for 3 years of impact. And that's the timeline that God works in. Unseen seasons before public assignments. And when I look at it that way, I realize that this season is not wasted. It's holy. It is refinement. And that is where my roots are learning to drink deep. So right now, I'm choosing to keep showing up. Even when it's hard, even when it's silent, even when I don't see the fruits yet. Because I don't want to be a woman who only praise God when things make sense. I want to be the woman who says, even here, even now, in this valley, He is still worthy. He is still good. And maybe that is what real success is. Not the numbers or the recognition, but the faith to keep showing up for what God called you to, even when it looks like nothing is happening. Because faithfulness is never wasted, even when it feels small, it is still sacred. If you are listening right now, and you are in this same season, the one that feels long, heavy, and so uncertain, I want you to know that I see you. And more importantly, God sees you. He hasn't changed His mind about you. He is not ignoring your prayers. He is answering them in ways that prepare your heart before He releases your harvest. So take a breath, let go of the pressure to prove yourself, and just keep showing up. Because every unseen act of obedience still echoes in heaven. A very quiet yes still carries weight. And one day, when the time is right, all those seeds you have planted will break through the surface, and you'll understand why you had to wait. So this is what I'm learning. Sometimes the most powerful testimony is not what you accomplish, but what you endure, what you push through. And I want to keep walking that out with you. This channel is shifting a little. I want to invite you into my real life. Not just the teaching, but the living. The faithful, the frustration, the beauty of ordinary days with God in the middle of it all. Because I believe that is where transformation truly begins, in the real, raw, sacred middle. So if you are here for that, for the honest moments, the vulnerable stories, the reminders that God is still faithful even in the fog, stay close. This next season is about romanticizing the life we already are living, about slowing down enough to see God in the details, and about becoming women who show up not for perfection, but for purpose. Thank you for being here. Thank you for walking with me through this new chapter. And I believe with my whole heart that God is still writing our stories. And the next page, the next chapter is going to be amazing. Because even when it feels like nothing's working, He's still working. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.